Some have described prayer as a two-way communication between man and God. I know that I can talk to God in prayer, but does God speak to me apart from His Word? And I would answer you in the hall, rarely, if ever. Flatly, I would say that, rarely, if ever. Why would you want God to speak to you apart from His Word? How could you tell it's God? How would you know it's true if it's apart from His Word, and especially if it disagrees with the Word? But does God speak to me apart from His Word? Rarely, if ever. Would God speaking to me be considered prayer? Not biblically. Now, there are a lot of people that kind of like redefine things, and they say that God speaking to me is part of my prayer life, that it's a two-way constant thing. And I say, now define what you mean by God speaking to me. You're hearing something, you're having impressions, you feel, and then I say, does it line up with what God has already said? See, that's the missing dimension. Jesus said, the further we go toward the end, the more deceiving times are going to come. He said, Satan appears as an angel of light. The number of Christians that embraced Betty Eadie's book, Embraced by the Light, who was a Mormon, shows me that the total deception rate of believing Christians is high because they don't check all things, 1 Thessalonians 5, against the Word. Betty Eadie's book and Jonathan Livingston Seagull from 40 years ago were so popular as motivational books in sales and Christian sales groups, they didn't test it against the Word and see that it was Hinduism, Mormonism, Spiritism, and everything else. But would God speaking to me be considered prayer? In the Bible, we don't find God talking to me ever described as a biblical form of prayer. And there are 7 Old Testament prayer words and 5 New Testament prayer words.